Hey guys, RJ from Tele Talks here, and on this week's episode, we are going to talk about why I feel like every guitarist should own a synth. Let's go ahead and get started.
Everybody wants to dance. Everybody wants to dance. Everybody wants to dance. Everybody wants to dance with you. With you. But I'm the only one who knows. But I'm the only one who knows.
The first big one is to get you out of a creative or uninspired rut by switching instruments and switching genres or genre adjacent to what you're comfortable with. Like any new PC gear, it's always inspiring to, mess around with things. And I think with synths specifically, because there's so much knowledge around them as far as how to get specific sounds, it really allows you to sculpt exactly what you want after just learning a few basic concepts. No different than learning EQ or what your tone knob does or anything like that on a guitar pedal, which again is kind of like another bonus, especially with the recommendations that I have for this video. It's all very tactile, hands-on, much like a guitar pedal or guitar, and I think that is comforting to me as a guitarist, and I'm sure plenty of others. The second one is some of them, depending on what you go with, are super duper portable, and it allows you to make music on the go from as simple as just using your phone or even a small like Korg Volca, which is battery powered, fits in a backpack, or if you want to get really technical, you can go with one of the pocket operators and they legitimately fit in your pocket. And so it's a little bit more portable than bringing a guitar to work, but it allows you to still flex that creative muscle, and that's why I think another reason why I think synths are cool. Now this next reason could be a benefit for some or a plus for some or discouraging for others depending on who you are. For me personally, I really enjoy it, and that is learning and understanding synthesis. It allows me to just kind of like let my analytical side of my brain like really dive in to the process, and in return still be creative. Because oscillators and envelope filters, all that stuff is just it's all equations. So if you're an analytical person, especially like maybe you prog rock guys, etc., this is another rabbit hole for you to fall down into and get away from the guitar for a bit. Also, for me, because it's so challenging learning synthesis, when I go back to picking up the guitar, that's always the easy part, and it's less intimidating. The guitar is, I should say, is less intimidating to play, and I find myself, much more relaxed because I'm back into my true comfort zone, which is playing guitar, and I think that's kind of cool. Challenge yourself at one end. That way, when you go back to what you know, it's just easy and a little bit less careless, so you can just have fun. Now, for recommendations, I'm gonna go with a lot of budget-friendly options. Like, I know this might be a new adventure to some, so I don't want to give you like, $1,000 synthesizers. I don't even know that. The recommendations I'm gonna go with today are legitimately cheaper than most boutique pedals on the market used. The first recommendation I'm gonna have to go with definitely is the Korg Vocal line. All of them are great, but I'm gonna recommend two specifically, and that is the Korg Vocal keys and the Korg Vocal bass for a few reasons. One, they're all analog. Their knob per function is on point, so there's no like real hidden menus for the most part. It's just all what you can touch and twist, much like any other guitar pedal. And I think that would be comforting for a lot of guitarists. They're battery powered. You can use your pedal power to power a lot of them. And the sequencer function functions more like almost like a loop pedal. So I think that will be a really comforting to the guitarist world out there. And they're pretty small. They're a little bit bigger than a phone, so they can fit in a backpack or, in your car, etc., etc. So it's, again, playing into that taking music wherever you want to go and being able to make it in a short amount of time. Now, these go for about anywhere from $90 to $170 brand new. So 90 is on the used end, 170, a lot of them are brand new at $170, which is way cheaper than most pedals these days, as far as, like I said, the boutique brands. Heck, even Boss. I mean, look at the R2. That's $250. I mean, another cool thing, shout out real quick about the vocal keys, is there is a delay, so you get a little ambient, so it's not a complete dry synth, which can be a little harsh and uninspiring. Alright guys, my next recommendation of synthesizers is again an entire line, and that is the Pocket Operator line by Teenage Engineering. These little guys right here. They are AAA battery powered, they legitimately fit in your pocket. Here's my iPhone 12 Pro Max for reference, as you can see, much smaller. And they're super fun, especially if you're into like chip tunes or want to make like lo-fi 8-bit music, 16-bit music. It can be a ton of fun. I recommend the PO16 if you're looking for a lo-fi drum machine. Another one would be the PO20, which is the arcade, and it does just that. A ton of cool, awesome arcade style sounds, samples, etc. And if you want to get into sampling, they actually have a micro sampler. It's called the PO33KO. It even has a built-in mic, so you can actually sample sounds on the go, which is a ton of fun. So again, Pocket Operators, they go for anywhere from $60 to $100. Super cheap, guys. A lot of fun to get introduction. Anyways, now my final recommendation for getting into synthesizers and doing it on the cheap, one's going to be for iPhone and one's going to be for iPad OS, or if you have like a MacBook or PC. The first one being Groovbox on iOS. Now this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Groovbox. It has drum machines, synths, bass synths, etc., etc. And what's cool about it is it's actually free. Of course, there's microtransactions that allow you to get different sound packs, but they're all super duper affordable. So I highly recommend checking that one out. And if you have an iPad, I would recommend, let me see if I could, I got to look this up. Sorry guys, just because it is a weird name. It is a Tell You No LX. And basically this is a Roland Juno synth VST AVU3 plugin. It goes for $11.99 on iPad OS, which I feel like is a great price for what you get. The thing has built-in reverb, delay, and the classic 2-button Juno synth chorus that everybody really loves. Now they do have a Mac OS and Windows OS version, but it is $60, which is still a great deal for what you get. But I'm recommending the iPad version because it is only $11.99 and it has all the same functionality. You can legitimately include or import your own presets from your desktop or from like the internet, and they work on iPad OS. So yeah, go ahead and check that out if you want a vintage classic sounding synth straight up from the 80s. Now, I've talked about why you should own a synth. I've given you a few recommendations on which synths to buy. Now I'm gonna give you some free resources on the internet, specifically here on YouTube, to check out to learn a little bit more about actual synthesis. And I find that these 3 channels do it very well. The first and big one, especially if you go with one of my recommendations from earlier, is Free Beats on YouTube, because he focuses specifically on budget synth gear. He does a lot of pocket operator stuff, Korg Volca stuff, etc., and has helped me learn so much about the synths that I own. Now, another guy who is actually more Groovbox focused, and I have a Novation Circuit track, so that's kind of why I started following him. But I love the music that he makes in his videos, and that is Gabe Miller Music. That dude knows how to make some awesome music, regardless of genre, as far as electronic is concerned. Anywhere from hip hop, trap to synth wave and just ambient music. Super versatile, super informative, and just inspiring to see what, you know, the limit that you can push synths at. So check him out, Gabe Miller Music. Elise is the big recommendation, probably the biggest channel out of these three, and that would be Beau Beats. He's kind of like synthesizer royalty at this point on YouTube. He seems like a genuinely nice dude. And honestly, I just love his passion that he has for synthesis, regardless of device. And you can find a wide range of, again, devices featured on his channel.
And in terms of build quality, it's actually pretty nice for a small synthesizer. You do have the same nice aluminum finish as on the bigger Cobalt.
Now, everything I talked about here today will be linked down below, the channels and the synth recommendations that I have made. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you've recently gone into synthesis or you've been in the game for a while and you find it just as influential to your guitar playing as actually playing guitar. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next time, and until then, peace.